Oh, yeah. That's right. Welcome back to Inside the Trenches. It's your host, Marlon Big Faith Favorite. I hope y'all are enjoying the show. It only gets better from here in this second hour. I want to take this time right now to thank my next guest for always coming on, taking his time out of his busy day, working with TigerBait.com, the one and only Preston Guy. Preston, man, how's it going today, brother?
Hey Marlon, what's up, man?
Man, all is well. Just enjoying the evening, and I appreciate you for taking your time out. Y'all be sure to follow Preston at P Guy 77 on X. Anything you need to know, TigerBait.com in regards to football recruiting, the upcoming season with LSU. That's definitely what we're going to dial into right now. But before we get to the football talk, I want to take this moment to just really give our state a round of applause for how they're performing right now in the world of baseball. LSU, Louisiana Tech, UL, Tulane, Nicholls State, and Grambling, all six Louisiana teams are in their regionals. So this is just a huge accomplishment for the state, and it's pretty big time. I'm impressed.
Man, that is wild. 6 out of 64 teams from the state of Louisiana. Just shows, boy, it's the state of baseball. I'll tell you what, man. And LSU, of course, showed out at the SEC tournament. You know, they went into that thing. A lot of people questioned whether they were even going to make it. They were kind of on the bubble, but they're hot, man. They're red hot. They played. They run ruled the number 2 team in the country. They beat the number 3 team in the country in a best out of 3 series toward the end of the year, and then they took Tennessee down to the final inning with 1 run short. You know, they needed one more miracle to take them out, and they were number 1 in the country. So, boy, some red hot baseball coming out of Louisiana and LSU.
It is, man. And just to let our folks know what to expect, there's the Chapel Hill May 31st through June 3rd, and that's LSU participating in that in Bryan College Stadium regional. That's made same dates. You got Grambling and UL along with Texas A&M in Texas, and then there's the Fayetteville regionals, and that's where Louisiana Tech is in there, with also Southeastern Missouri, Arkansas, just to name a few, and Tulane, the Carvelis deal in the Tulane and Nicholls States and that. So just wanted to take a little time to big up our state because that's huge. I mean, last year LSU winning the national championship in baseball, and for that infectious feeling to get pushed throughout all the other programs in our school, in our state is huge. Yep. So, Press, man, let's talk about. I want to talk high school recruiting for a second. Um, LSU class of 25 looks good, top tier class. But I want to run 2 quotes I was reading. I was checking out. I want to say I was either on Shay Dixon's page or, some I forget who it was, but Blair Underwood was asked about his commitment to LSU. He said, "If you are committed to a school, stay committed to a school." Now, for that to come out of a 16-year-old's mouth in this climate, right? Right now, we're in the heyday of NIL. Another player looks at going hit a team out the portal, guys jumping away. So to hear this from this young man covering high school recruiting here in the area, man, what was your thought process when you heard that?
Well, my number one thought was it doesn't really surprise me. You know, I spoke to Bryce Underwood's dad during this process. You know, he is a football coach himself. And, you know, a lot of times these coaches' sons, yes, they want their son to do what's best for them, but, you know, commitment matters to these guys very often. You know, the coaches, they experience the other end, and, you know, all their friends and people they work with all experience the other side of this wild college football nature where, you know, players are flipping and submitting and doing all sorts of crazy stuff at that level. But then it's also gotten to the point where really once you get them on roster, there's nothing locking them in either. The portal you can transfer as many times as you want. So it really is a fickle industry world right now. So I guess in a world full of fickle 17, 16-year-olds, be a Bryce Underwood. You know, that's something you strive to be. It's especially comforting for LSU knowing that Bryce could decommit or flip or get into the transfer portal at any point, knowing how committed he is to the program. Because, I mean, it might not be his job day one. He's going to have to come in and earn it. There's Colin Hurley, Ricky Collins, Garrett Nussmeier might be there next year. I'm sure the plan is for him. He's going to ball out and declare for the NFL draft. But, you know, that's easier said than done. That sounds easy for us to analyze and look at. But historically speaking, most of the time the quarterbacks need to stay an extra year and get to maximize their draft value. So all of those are factors that go into whether or not you can keep Bryce Underwood, and it sounds pretty comfortable. He's not taking any visits. He's shutting it down. His family is looking into moving to Baton Rouge. That's about as solid of a commitment as you're going to get in 2024, 2025. And flip that over to the number one running back in the country, Harlem Berry, is echoing these exact same sentiments. He's done. He knew it was LSU a long time. They both waited until they knew it was 100% comfortable, and they made the call and locked it in. You have to wonder if a little bit, unfortunately, LSU wasn't able to hold on to their third number one ranked position player. That's the number one receiver, DeCorian Moore. But even on that front now, DeCorian is now coming out and saying LSU wasn't in the mix when I decommitted, but we got an in-house visit from Coach Cortez Hankton, and they're back in it. And LSU's in a number of guys. So, you know, while that was a major hit to the class, I think that with the guys we just talked about who are as firmly locked in as they are, I think those are going to compel some other guys to hop on and come play with them here at LSU. You know, LSU's in on the top three receivers in the country, all three of them. LSU, you know, got a hat on the table for them.
I couldn't agree with you more. And what I see about this temperature more than anything else is it's hot water, and guys are jumping the money. You got players that are in programs, and I understand what's going on, what's happening. The NCAA just declared a new rule. The first time ever in the history of this sport, you got colleges can now play schools. So, I mean, the plot thickens, and just being able to keep guys around really means a lot. I mean, literally, Harlem Berry told On3, if I could sign tomorrow, I would. And that's because it's not like it's your – listen, Press, these LSU teams that I played on were built from guys in-state, 2 and 3 stars. Here's a young man in Harlem Berry that's in-state that's the top running back in the country. Yeah,
it's a huge deal. And that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I met Harlem Berry's dad on the sideline. This never has happened, ever. He found me. He recognized me and said, hey, man, appreciate all your coverage for the show. My son's excited to check this place out. He was uncommitted at the time. And we reached out and talked with him. And he played with Frank Wilson in New Orleans. They were teammates. So that's the kind of connections of whatnot LSU has. Yeah, it's built on players like him, but you do need to go out and get a Bryce Underwood and probably some offensive linemen to make it click. But, yeah, what makes this LSU job special is the bank of talent that grows all around you. Now, unfortunately, LSU did lose a top-notch running back last week, James Simon, who's from the state. But LSU took another commitment from TJ Lindsey, another running back in-state who was really turning up fast. And LSU was like, look, we need another running back to commit. We're going to take TJ Lindsey, James Simon. If you want to come on. But we're going to take a commitment from him too. And James didn't like that. And he went from being a heavy LSU favorite to taking his talents to Texas. And he says it's done. So still, they've done a great job locking up the state. Last year, they locked up 9 out of 10 of the top players in the state, and that is how you build something special at LSU. That is what has made LSU special all those years. All those teams you played on, like you said, homegrown talent. You just got to add a few pieces around it for what doesn't grow on trees around here. Quarterbacks don't grow on trees.
Right.
Offensive linemen don't grow on trees. But, boy, defensive linemen, defensive backs, receivers, man, LSU's got it made in those spots.
They do it. If y'all are just tuning in, you're listening to Preston Guy. Be sure to follow him on X at PGuy77. Staff writer covers LSU and recruiting at TigerBait.com. So if you need like those for your novice fan, I know y'all just kind of want to know what's going on with LSU, how the team is shaping up, and what are some areas that LSU needs to improve on. Preston Guy got you covered with that, along with all my buddies over there, Mike Scroble, and all my folks at TigerBait.com. When you start thinking about the way these recruiting classes are coming together, for our listeners, and how Coach Kelly is not only building through the state, but he's also, when he does go outside of the state, you're looking at a Bryce Underwood, but guys like, as me and Preston sitting here talking about, Harlem Berry, that can really get the job done. So look, y'all, Preston is going to stick around with us a little longer here. Another segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about LSU, like what LSU really needs to work on. I know Preston mentioned the offensive line. We'll take a pretty cool look at that, talk about some more folks shining for LSU. Hey, and look, remember, if y'all didn't get a chance to, y'all got to go ahead and get on that hot list, baby. You can text the word Big Fave, BIGFAV, to 94253. Big Fave to Big Fave to 94253. Definitely. And listen, we're going to do a lot of our stuff on demand too. So y'all can go to the ESPN New Orleans website. It's ESPN1003.com. You can check out interviews with me and Preston. You might have missed episode from a few weeks ago. You could go check it out right here on our site. Definitely. Well, y'all stick around. I'll be back with Preston Guy with TigerBait.com for another segment. It's Inside the Trenches right here on ESPN New Orleans. Hello, somebody.